Well, I think, I'm Jewish myself. The problem I had with that tweet was the DEFCON 3 thing. You know what I mean? And coming from a history of 6 million Jews wiped out, parts of my family were wiped out. My Jewish relatives were wiped out during World War II. Saying DEFCON 3 to a group that has lost so much, it's not like he said DEFCON 3 on white people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that would have been, what I'm saying? I don't think it's really apples to apples. He was just saying white lives matter as sort of I understand why he was saying it. It was like a parody of Black Lives Matter.
But to black people, they would disagree because to black people, we're in DEFCON 3 every day.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair
enough. 20 million, black people died during the slave trade and everything else like that. I get it. I was very, when I saw White Lives Matter, I thought it was lame.
Yeah.
I thought having Candace Owens up there was lame. I've said this in interviews. I've said it publicly.
Yeah.
I also think this anti-Jewish tweet was lame as well.
Yeah.
And LeBron, HBO show The Shop ended up pulling the interview over hate speech and dangerous stereotypes. Listen, I know people around Kanye, without going into any names, that have been around him for years and years. And what they say is that every few months, Kanye just switches up his whole crew, right? He'll have all these people around him, and then 6 months later, all those people will be gone, and there's a whole new group of people. Because
I've heard that too.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, he's a multi-billionaire and he's a moneymaker, and there's always going to be someone to step up and want to be around him. Certain people like yourself will walk away. There will be a new Jason Lee to replace you, right? No offense to Jason Lee, but there'll be another Jason Lee to fill that role in Kanye's life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this, and I want to be very clear. I don't think there should be a negotiation between which statement was more painful, because white lives, the Jewish comments, Black Lives Matter now is a scam.
Slavery is a choice. Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves. Van Lathan even came forward and said that during that the whole thing with TMZ, he said that he loves Hitler or something.
Let me finish my thought. I think that any group of people who are marginalized or who have had a history of pain have the right to feel how they feel.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's fair to say anyone is wrong. I just feel like there is an inequity in the handing out of cancellation when it comes to certain groups. And as somebody who's black and white, I'm not Jewish, but I love everybody. And some of the first people to support me when I started my company was Jewish people who brought me into, we would go to dinner and it was like, oh, you don't have a car? They literally dropped the car off to my house. Like they looked out for me in a way that my community had.
I'm Jewish. I reached out to you.
You did reach out to me and you did take me to dinner. I think you paid the bill too.
Right.
No, but I feel like that I'm not angry at him. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I did spend 7 months investing in the idea that this was going to be something different. I invested time in a person who I believe wanted to do a certain thing for the culture. But I also have compassion for this person because, I don't believe that when somebody that you have a relationship with goes through something that you automatically just use that as an opportunity to grandstand on them and shit on them. I want him to be great. I don't know that he wants to be great because how he acts doesn't align with wanting to be great. And I was saying this also on my show that I think that in some weird way, when he says white lives matter, and when he posts a picture of his hat running for president in 2024, and he gets everybody wrapped up in this potential run for presidency, that if he was to lose the presidency, he would say, Trump did everything and won, but I didn't. I told you white lives matter. So the joke would be on us. That's his thinking. And I get it, but I also understand the power of words and how they land, and what's happening now is not helping us to understand that because the context is missing. But that's how he thinks.
Yeah, from my point of view, the way I saw it, and I may be wrong because I don't know Kanye like that. I've interviewed him once many, many years ago before Vlad TV. It almost appeared to me that he upset so many black people with White Lives Matter that from him making statements about the Jewish community and knowing that there's somewhat of a tense relationship between blacks and Jews, that in a way it got some of the heat from the black community, and now you have black people that are agreeing with, oh yeah, because Jews did, we are really the real Jew. Black people really are the real Jews, and the Jews really did finance the slave trade, and all these conspiracy theories and so forth. Oh, the Jews do control everything and always try to blackball us and so forth. And to me, it's just like, man, I wish it could have just been done a different way.
Well, let me say this because I want to be sensitive to everybody watching, right? Because you have a huge audience. Some people who believe they are conspiracy theories really believe it happened, right? And the people who family went through certain experiences understand what happened. And I'm not taking a side on either side. I don't want to be seen as somebody who's saying the blacks were the first Jews or Jewish people. Like, I'm not in that
Who
conversation.
knows?
Yeah.
And to me, it doesn't matter anyway.
Wait, but let me say
You know
this
what I'm
because
saying?
I think it's important for me to get this out there. I'm not playing in that, right? And I think like with him putting stuff online allows so many conversations to happen. First, it's white lives matter, then all the black people are mad, then the Jewish comments, now black people are not mad, and now Jewish people are mad, and now everybody online is fighting with each other.
Right.
And the chaos is unnecessary.
Exactly.
And I don't know what the end goal is. And that's why I go back to my point where I said, I don't know if he has people around him that actually care about him to say, yeah, come on, nah. Because if I was in the room, I would say, nah, we're not doing that. Because I believe in who he could be.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk said that they spoke, and he felt like it was a fruitful conversation. But I guess the thing with the shop happened afterwards, and I guess it wasn't a fruitful conversation. So it is what it is. And then what's interesting afterwards is that Candace Owens pops up with a voicemail of Kim Kardashian, allegedly to Ray J. And actually, I know someone close to the Kim situation who's known her for many, many years. And this person said, that's definitely Kim. 100%.
Oh, I mean, it sounds like Kim. But here, okay.
It wasn't a fake voicemail, is what I'm saying.
So I understand a couple of things. I understand Ray J is upset with the Kardashians because they've shit on him for a long time and made him out to be the bad guy that leaked this sex tape that he now is saying that they had some participation in selling.
And let me just touch on this point because there's a lot of gray area about this. But I actually interviewed the owner of Vivid Entertainment. And in our interview, this is right here on Vlad TV YouTube, he said when they first got the sex tape, they got paperwork, and they found out that the paperwork, one of the names on the paperwork was forged.
Well, it was brought to us by a third party. Felt like the proper paperwork that we needed was in place. That came along with it. Now, that ultimately wasn't the case. But we went out there and said, look, we feel comfortable releasing this movie. Ultimately, we were able to have a conversation with Kim after much back and forth and lots of legal stuff going on. But ultimately, she agreed to allow us to put out the tape. We paid her several $1 million. It was an amazing investment for us. And I think it worked out pretty good for her as well. But ultimately, yes, we need to get an agreement.
I assumed, just because usually men are the ones who bring forward sex tapes, that, Ray J brought it, he forged Kim's name. No. In fact, we find out afterwards, after Ray J posts the paperwork and everything, which coincides with my interviews, that Kim actually forged Ray J's name on that paperwork.
So look how mad Ray J is right now. Like, I just had hosted Ray J at the Revolt conference in Atlanta where we talked about it. He just went on the Charlemagne show over on Viacom. Now, they're not going to tell you this, but I'll tell you. He spilled everything on that show and the network got a lot of pressure from the Kardashians allegedly, and they edited it all out. And so
I heard about this,
And so Ray J is really angry. He's angry that his sister hasn't stepped up to defend him. She's been silent. Brandy hasn't said anything.
She just had a stroke, by the way.
I know, seizure.
Seizure, sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that, but
okay.
But this is how Ray J feels, right? And so he feels like this constant need to expose who these people are. I'm not saying he leaked this audio tape, but if he got the voicemail, I don't know who else got it.
I think that if he was the one that leaked it, I don't think he would bring it to Candace Owens. But that's the part that doesn't make sense to me.
Candace Owens was the first one to say that Kim Kardashian was a prostitute. She went after Kim before that. I don't know who released it. But what I'm saying is that...
And let me just say this, we don't...
we posted... we posted...
We're not going to say that Kim Kardashian was a prostitute, okay? Say that if that's a rumor, I'd never heard about it before. And I don't know of any truth in that. I'm not trying to get sued by the Kardashians.
Well, here's the deal. Fuck their lawsuits. But what I'm saying is that I'm not saying Kim Kardashian is a prostitute. I'm saying Candace Owens said on her platform that she was a prostitute.
Okay, just to be clear.
What she was saying was that Kris Jenner brokering the deal that Ray J said was brokered made her a prostitute and made Kris the pimp. That's what Candace said. I don't know that to be true. I wasn't there.
I can see how you're sort of you could frame that in that such a way. I mean,
I'm just saying what the people saying. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm
Right.
not. I don't know who was in the room with Vivid or whatever. But what I will say is that them leaking the audio tape about the Whitney Houston thing did nothing because it just people online were like, so what? We don't care. Nobody
Well,
cared.
I think it sort of showed a side of Kim that you've never seen before. Kim has always controlled her image so well that even when you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians or the Hulu show or whatever, she's always seen as this really nice, pleasant.
To people that aren't paying attention, she's supporting Rick Caruso for LA mayor and she don't live in LA. This billionaire who has not been close to Karen Bass, who's fought to get people out of fought against mass incarceration for years, who's been the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, who helped me get a person out of prison who was arrested for marijuana, who brokered a deal with another governor of the state. You're endorsing this white billionaire who's not even aligned with what you're doing for our culture. So like people who are paying attention are getting it.
Yeah,
I'm paying attention.
Listen, I personally thought that Kanye had this video, had this recording and gave it to Candace, considering they have a relationship.
I don't know.
That's my guess, but I don't know. Who knows?
Let Whitney Houston lay in peace. I don't know.
Yeah, the fact that she called Whitney a crackhead and everything else like that. And
no, the fact that she recited song lyrics.
Yeah, it's not right, but it's okay. Someone pointed that out to me. I'm like, yo, I'm dying right now.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
We
don't know. I talked to someone who knows her very well, and he goes, same kind of thing, starts off nice and sweet, and I've gotten these same type of voicemails, and it starts to escalate into this crazy, screaming and whatever. He goes, yeah, that's definitely her. And I'm like, okay.
And I'll have to say, as much as I've been critical of Kim and will always be critical of whoever we're talking about at the time and whatever they're doing, I also met her, and she's also been very nice, and she's very, but again, I don't know these people the way that they know each other. I don't know Kim the way Ray J or Kanye does. I just know her from, a couple times that we met.